What is up, denizens of the interwebs? It's Actor SImu here, coming at you with another video, and this time it looks like we might be talking about one of the dumbest stories I have had the mispleasure of hearing in a very long time. And that is the recent drama regarding the Shang Chi actor SImu Liu, who made an absolute fool of himself over a Boba Tea company in a financing show. So this whole story is just an actor making an absolute mess of themselves, and it's absolutely disgraceful and upsetting to say in the slightest. So like, subscribe, and let's get into this. Alright, coming from that Park Place, written by John F. Trent, Shang Chi actor SImu Liu roasted after he accused Boba Bubble Tea owner of cultural appropriation on Canadian reality show Dragon's Den. And I'm just going to say it right now, that name alone sounds pretty appropriating, don't you think, SImu Liu? So, but what exactly are the details of what this B-rated actor decided to do on his days off of not working at Marvel because his movie sucked? Well, he's doing this entrepreneurship business where he's financing entrepreneurs for a stake in their company, basically Shark Tank. In which one group came up, and there were two white people came up and they proposed an idea of a mass-produced boba tea in a canned drink that could make boba tea available to the masses. And the one thing I'm confused about is, do they not have that in Canada? Here in the United States, they're everywhere. I mean, these are actually Chinese brands. You know, I've seen them in Walmarts, but I've also seen them sold at H-Marts and specialized markets. There's a lot of them. Like, they're sold at Meijer. They suck. They're disgusting. So I'd actually appreciate a good one being on the market. But SImu Liu did not think this was nearly as a genius of an idea as the average person would, given the fact that boba tea is a phenomenal beverage. Instead, he accused them of cultural appropriation, where he said that I'm concerned about this idea of distributing or disturbing bubble tea because it's something that's there's also an issue of cultural appropriation. There's an issue of taking something that's very distinctly Asian in its identity and quote, unquote, making it better, which I have an issue with. They aren't improving on the notion of boba tea. They're selling a viable product in the West, which, by the way, how about, if you're so passionate about it, why didn't you create a boba tea market in the United States that actually sold, in the United States and Canada, that actually sold viable and tasty boba tea beverages? Because, there, like I said, there's a pretty big lack in easily available boba tea canned drinks. After listening to the pitch, Liu stated, I'm studying your canon and I'm looking for anything that tells me where boba came from. And where boba came from is Taiwan. You know, I started this venture company for a lot of reasons, but really, primarily, to uplift minority entrepreneurs. Which, as we all know, is code speak for I'm a raging racist who hates anyone who doesn't look like me because I can't think about anyone other than my own skin color group. And not only do I feel like this is not happening here, but that I would be uplifting a business that is profiting off of something that feels so dear to my cultural heritage. Your cultural heritage? This isn't fucking chicken's feet. This isn't dim sum. This is fucking boba tea. You're not fucking Taiwanese, SImu Liu. You're a goddamn Chinaman. You're not from Taiwan. You're from China. What are you talking about here? You are not. Guess what? The Orient isn't a thing anymore. Just because you both exist in the same region doesn't mean you're the same kind of person. What an unbelievably tone-deaf and absolutely racist thing to say. To have the gall to come out here and say this as if you're some monolith of the Asian people. Which might remind you that the majority of the Asian people hate each other. I don't think Taiwan wants a Chinese person out there representing for them when you guys are borderline denying their existence on the daily. In fact, that's the biggest shock, is the fact that you're acknowledging Taiwan as a real country. He followed up, I want to be a part of bringing boba to the masses, but not like this. So for that reason, I'm out. And then after that, it led to a bidding war with the rest of the other members, which I wasn't actually aware of before reading this article, in which a woman, Manhit Minas, won. After the company had left the stage, Leo continued, it makes me sad how successful this business is. What a petty little brat. What a spoiled little child. Here I thought, because, you know, I read a little bit about your biography, the fact that you actually grew up dealing with some kind of struggle, I would have figured that you'd have a little bit of a spine, a little bit of a knowledge of how the world works. But given the fact that you're a failed economist, it's absolutely no shock to me whatsoever that you're whining online, trying to get some sympathy points so you can get another gig in Hollywood. Because last time I checked, you're not getting a whole lot of jobs. Minas, the one who won the bidding war, then pushed back on the idea, to which Liu retorted, there has to be a willingness to change, and I have to be able to invest in these founders, knowing that the change is possible. So he just assumes that change isn't a viable option. Why? Because they're white? Hey, SImu Liu. Pot calling kettle? Don't throw rocks in glass houses? You're looking into a mirror, assuming it's a fucking window. How about you stop being the one who's out here saying all these racist things? How about you stop being the one who's, I don't know, Assuming because it's a white person they aren't willing to change and put the label on their can. You guys live in Canada, for Christ's sake. All he's going to do is say sorry and then change it if you guys agreed to work together. You could have been the one to put that awareness on the can, but because you have to be so holier than thou, you make it so there's no way that these people can make this kind of product because you feel so entitled to this kind of notion that you must be special. I'm also just not figuring out that would come in an alcoholic version, and fuck you, SImu Liu. I really want that now. What the hell? But after all the episode and getting constant backlash, SImu Liu decided to double down on TikTok because of course that's where all degenerates go to die. Where he specifically follows up saying that it was something exploitative regarding cultural appropriation rather than paying homage and respect. And who gets to decide that, huh? Who gets to decide what's exploitative versus paying respect? Tell me, did you think that your role in Shang Chi was paying respect to a source material and a culture that doesn't belong to you? You took something that was made for white people and for Asian Americans, and you made it one of the worst Marvel movies to come out. Somehow being even worse than the Marvels. So I don't want to hear this crap about valid criticism. How about you talk about what's actually going on here, about how you just need a job. And then he follows up with one of the worst apologies I've ever read. On the flip side, I've been made aware that business owners have received a lot of death threats and harassment and otherwise just kind of bullying and dogpiling. And I just want to say, full stop, it's never okay to make threats. It's never okay to bully and harass online. And yeah, that sounds like a pretty decent pseudo-apology for putting these people in such a negative spotlight, for literally pointing the firing squad at them. But then he absolutely ruins the apology with this next sentence. And I don't mean that the business owner don't deserve valid criticism, and I don't believe that you should not be vocal about your disagreements. But I think we can all agree on common sense, there's a line you don't and shouldn't cross. So basically what SImu Liu is saying here is, hey, I'm not going to condone the death threats, but everything else I actually do support because I think it's valid that you go and do this. This is a way of him saying, oh, don't harass the creators, but go keep it harassing the creators. Just know I don't vocally condone the more negative comments and the more aggressive comments. What a load of shit. He then concluded with, let's not cross that line, let's disagree with each other, let's critique each other, let's critique this idea of cultural appropriation, let's talk about it, but what we are not going to do is threaten people's physical safety and make people feel unsafe and cause them trauma. Oh my god, what a week. Oh my Jesus Christ. I cannot believe. Let's not cause them trauma. You know what causes trauma? Being a fucking racist prick on a venture capital show. That's a pretty easy way to cause someone some trauma. Not that, of course, that's a valid thing to say here, because literally anything can cause someone trauma. I'm pretty sure I got trauma from watching your terrible movies. He then followed up with saying, was it misguided? I believe so. Were they a little ignorant? Absolutely. But those are all human things. Just as human as deliberately sending the cancel culture dogpiling insane mob against these poor people who were just trying to spread a beverage that would have made you guys a lot of money. He then continued on Twitter, I truly do not care what you spend your money on, buy boba or don't, or buy bottled mass-produced boba that feels weirdly appropriated or don't. It literally does not matter to me. All I ask is that you not empty your life savings into altcoins and NFTs. What a pointless end, and the fact that we're all forgetting the number one key important thing here. The person who produced the boba is from Taiwan. It's a Taiwanese company providing the Canadian businessmen with the boba. They're not getting it from Canada or America or some white nation. They're literally getting it from Taiwan and being told to sell it in the Canada and United States. But of course, because X is now the place of freedom of speech and is the wild, wild west of consequences coming and biting these wokosos in the ass. A lot of people had a lot of issue with it. For instance, Nina Infinity. Hail Nina Infinity. She's on Toxic Femme on Mondays. You guys should check him out. Aren't you Chinese? Didn't you play Korean dude in Kim's Convenience? Some, like you, might call that cultural appropriation. But hey, when it benefits you, who cares, right? So let me get this straight. We have a Chinese person who's pretending to be Chinese American, pretending to be Korean, pretending to care about Taiwan, pretending Taiwan is a part of his culture, when his culture is explicitly responsible for the erasure of Taiwanese culture. The layers of irony. I absolutely love it. Another user, Zia Per, responded, I am Taiwanese, and I love to see non-Taiwanese take an interest in our culture. I certainly won't cry about cultural appropriation. One thing I don't love, a Canadian-Chinese actor trying to represent Taiwanese people. Just as I said, this man is far more racist in doing what he thinks is virtuous than these actual people, or, legitimate racists who hate Chinese and Taiwanese people. Or, just as racist as the Chinese trying to erase Taiwan from existence. Another X user, scratch_point_z, might have had the best takedown, where he wrote, "This is not a learning opportunity to welcome. It is a celebrity using his influence to crush an up-and-coming business by claiming they were stealing his culture despite already working with a distributor in Taiwan." So the boba does come from Taiwan, which, by the way, shouldn't even be necessary. It's just funny to see an Asian trying to guard what he perceives to be his culture despite being completely westernized. SImu Liu has been in the United States since he was 4 years old. The only thing that makes SImu Liu more Chinese than I am is his test scores. And of course, his eyes. But aside from that, he might as well be as white as I am. If that's how he really feels, stop starring in Western media, stop playing Korean roles while being Chinese, stop speaking English, stop wearing Western clothing, etc. You don't get to keep culture to yourself while willingly partaking and benefiting from someone else's culture. These people need to stop apologizing to eternal victims, double down and tell them their feelings and on their matter are irrelevant. They need to be firmly told no for once in their coddled lives. And holy shit, I couldn't have said it better myself, and that's exactly why I'm reading it to you on a video, so I can pretend to have had some kind of valuable thought on the matter. He absolutely annihilated every single important part here. The fact that he's lying about his culture and claiming Taiwan when he has nothing to do with Taiwan. The fact that he is actively engaging in other people's cultures in the ways that he would deem offensive if white people were to do his. And the fact that he's just a perpetual victim looking for brownie points online so he can get another job lined up since he's not in any movies right now. And the fact that all you need to do is tell these absolute lunatics no 3 or 4 times before they learn the lesson that they can't go crying to daddy whenever someone says something they don't like. And even more disappointing, Mina apparently rescinded her offer to invest in the company, where she made a statement on TikTok: "After more reflection, due diligence, and listening to many of your opinions, I will not be investing in Boba Tea." As summarized by Libby Emmons, and just like that, Manhit Minhas, once super excited about backing alcoholic boba tea for distribution into the US, pulled her support, spoke about cultural differences, and begged people to stop threatening her online because it's like really hurting her feelings, you guys. So that's even better. Apparently, the culture mob that went after the boba tea creators on the behalf of SImu Liu also went after her, an Asian woman, for supporting boba tea in this venture because they can't be satisfied until everyone loses. And of course, what a cowardly, weak thing to do, to pull out because a couple of people on Twitter who weren't going to support the company either way made a few mean statements towards you. What an absolute disgrace. If you're going to do something, if you're going to have principles, you better be damn well prepared to stand on said principles, or you shouldn't have any at all. Because all you're doing is you're proving that the principles you do have don't matter, and the ones that you claim to have are even less relevant. The company also, to their own detriment, issued an apology and declared that Liu made valid points regarding his accusation of cultural appropriation. So let's read this. "We are very sorry for our delayed response. We needed some time to do our due diligence and fully understand the gravity of the situation. First and foremost, we want to deeply apologize for the harm we have caused by our words and actions on the show. While it was never our intention to cause harm or disrespect the community that created and popularized this beloved drink, we take full responsibility for the impact of our actions. Additionally, SImu Liu raised very valid points regarding cultural appropriation. We welcome this learning opportunity." Alright, this is a 5-page apology, so I'm just going to quickly look for anything important to say about it. So one thing they mentioned is that their product would remove all artificial coloring, flavoring, and preservative, which is common in most boba tea, which is an absolutely... The fact that he's denying a healthy alternative is absolutely insane. That they should ensure cultural integrity by properly acknowledging its origins in Taiwanese culture. We will reevaluate our branding, packaging, and marketing strategies to ensure that they reflect a respectful and accurate representation of our Taiwanese partnership and boba tea's cultural roots. We will also commit to further learning about the impacts of cultural appropriation to ensure we are equipped with the skills to effectively work cross-culturally. This has been a valuable learning experience for all of us, and we understand people's negative reactions, but we feel the hate speech and death threats are absolutely uncalled for and need to stop. We truly hope that people give us a chance to set things right and show that we can do better. Of course, you got to do better, Senator. God, how depressing that this is the society we live in right now, where someone trying to sell boba tea is forced to make an apology online because they didn't say explicitly where their boba tea came from. I mean, I guess I can't complain too much because at least SImu Liu works for a company that has a bit more accountability when China thanked a region known for their Muslim concentration camps of China. But it's okay to have that going on, but how dare you, a French-Canadian person, claim to sell boba tea without saying exactly where in Taiwan you got it from. And then for every single person involved in this situation to actually back down and adhere to the mob is absolutely insane. It takes one person saying no, one person saying, "Fuck you, I won't listen." As Rage Against the Machine once did when the British asked them not to swear, you have to tell these people, "Fuck you, I won't do what you want." Fuck
Fuck you, I won't do what you tell me!
But that takes integrity, that it takes honesty, and that takes a little bit of self-respect and the ability to extrapolate what you're being told from reality. That takes the ability to think critically on your own and be willing to have a little bit of a spine, which is unfortunately in short order these days. But honestly, this was nothing more than a job application for SImu Liu to try and get more gigs in Hollywood, and it's an absolute shame to see all the people who backed down or supported him. But that's pretty much what I've got. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think about this. Do you think SImu Liu is ever going to get another job, or this is going to put a massive black stain upon his legacy? And I will see you guys in the next one.